Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about 262 Fifth Avenue. Now this might be the most controversial building in New York City right now. And that is for the reason that this building, well it's for two reasons. It blocks the view of the Empire State Building from Madison Square Park, and it's just not very pretty looking. We're going to be honest here. This building is not very good looking. So it blocks the view of the Empire State Building from Madison, from the park, and it also is just not very pretty to block that. So it's blocking that view with something not too hot. So we're going to talk about that controversy here in a second. We're going to do a quick rundown of the building, then we can talk about that here in a second. So 262 Fifth Avenue is 860-foot tall residential building. It is 56 stories tall and will somehow only have 26 apartments in it. Now, some of those are duplexes and even quadplexes, so it's kind of a little off by saying that there's only 26 though, because I do believe some of those really include like two or maybe even four separate living areas though. So it's really a little bit higher than that, probably because of the quads and the duplexes and stuff in there, but only 26 apartments or condominiums, whatever you want to call them. And this building is currently under construction. It has topped out and is expected to be completed sometime in the second half of 2025. So that's kind of your quick rundown of this building. And then we can kind of talk now about the controversy surrounding this building. So this building is in the direct sight line from Madison Square Park, which, if you go back on this, is the green area down there, and where this and the Empire State Building. Now, this photo is, this rendering, it's not a photo, is basically where the Empire State Building would be a little bit to the right of this and a little bit farther back. So then when you're in the park, the views of the Empire State Building are basically completely blocked by this building, which is very unfortunate. Now, before we get into talking about the design of this building, I will say though, I'm one of the people that doesn't think you should not build a building because it blocks, another skyscraper. I know the Empire State Building. I love it just as much as the next person, but I don't think you can say, oh, you can't build on 10 city blocks of land south of the tower because it's gonna block the view for 100 people. Obviously, it's more than that, but it's gonna block the view for the next 2 blocks. I don't think you can shut down the development in an entire section of a city just because of a historic skyscraper, that is in another area. You can still see it from other areas. It's just not from this direct line of view. So as much as I maybe don't like it, I'm not the best fan of blocking the view of the Empire State Building. I don't think you should be making a law that you can't build skyscrapers in that area around it. I just don't think that's how it works. Now, on the other hand, this building's ugly. This is not a good looking building. I don't think this should have been approved just because of how bad it looks. If you're going to cover up the Empire State Building for people, you got to make your building look good. You got to have an iconic design, maybe an Art Deco design, something good looking here, not a concrete slab with some windows. And just the facade on this is not very good looking. Now, we looked at 989 or whatever. I don't remember the name of it the other day, and this is a similar design to it. Now, the other one was much better for the front facade. It still had that ugly concrete back, and I don't know what it is with these buildings, and they're like, let's make them super thin and just strap a bunch of concrete to the side to reinforce it or something like that. It looks terrible. It does not look good. That one was kind of saved by the facade not being terrible. The facade on this one is pretty terrible. I mean, it's just not very good looking by any means. It has kind of okay, because it has kind of okay atriums in there and thing on the top there. Those aren't terrible, but the entire thing in general is just not very good looking at all. I mean, look at this rendering. Does that look like a good building to you, to be blocking the Empire State Building? Nah, it's just not very good looking and not very appealing at all. So yeah, I'm really not a fan of this building. I mean, this is in an area of the skyline where there are not many tall buildings. This is south of the Empire State Building, south of Hudson Yards, basically, in the middle of Manhattan. There's nothing this tall until you get down to One World Trade Center, basically. So this is just out there, kind of gonna be seen by everyone, and it's not too good looking. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this building. It probably should have been taken back to the drawing board for that design for sure for it to be approved. I don't think this design should have been approved. And at the same time, there is so much other land to build. If you're going to build a building like this, why not pit it somewhere else? To be honest, there are plenty other places to build it besides right in front of the Empire State Building. But yeah, that's 262 Park Avenue, or Fifth Avenue, sorry. Probably the most controversial building in Manhattan right now, and I can understand why. Let me know your thoughts.